Let me start with a specific trend in the IT world. While thousands of people learn to code or manage databases, very few specialize in SAP security. This creates a situation where companies have a consistent need for a skill that most tech workers simply don't have. This gap in the workforce creates an opening for several different groups. If you are a fresher looking for a first step, an IT worker wanting to specialize, or even someone coming from a non-technical background, this is a field where you can build a stable career. You don't need any prior knowledge of the system to get started. We are going to start from zero and build up your understanding one step at a time. When you have a role that is required by every large company but specialized in by very few people, it creates a clear path for anyone willing to learn the logic behind it. To understand the security, we first have to understand the system itself. SAP is the software that large companies use to manage their day-to-day business operations. Think about the scale of a global corporation. They have departments for finance, human resources, and sales. Usually, these departments work in isolation, but for a business to move quickly, that information needs to be shared and connected. SAP acts as the central hub that brings all those different departments into one place. Because this hub manages every resource a company owns, from its money to its people, the industry calls it Enterprise Resource Planning, or an ERP. It functions like a central nervous system, sending vital data to every part of the organization to keep it running. When a company's entire operation depends on one central system, making sure that system is protected becomes a top priority. This leads to a logical problem. If thousands of employees are all logged into the same system at once, you cannot simply give everyone access to everything. You wouldn't want a junior warehouse clerk to have the power to approve a $1 million payment. And you certainly wouldn't want a new sales rep to be able to look up the private salaries of the executive team. Without clear boundaries, the system that was meant to connect the company actually becomes its biggest financial and legal risk. The solution works exactly like the keycard system in a Grand Hotel. In a hotel, you have hundreds of rooms and restricted areas, but the keycards ensure that people can only enter the spaces they are authorized to use. It's a strict hierarchy. The general manager has a card that opens every door. The housekeeping staff have cards for their assigned floors, and a guest has a card that only opens their own room and the gym. SAP uses this exact same logic. Instead of physical cards, we use digital user roles. When an employee logs in, the system checks their role to see which doors they are allowed to open inside the software. An SAP security consultant is the person who designs and manages this digital lock system. They make sure the hierarchy is organized so that no one can access data they aren't supposed to see. Ultimately, the job is about making sure every employee has exactly what they need to do their work, and absolutely nothing else. Now that you see how it works, let's look at the 4 practical reasons why this specialty is a strong career choice. This chart shows the current market. Companies need these security skills to protect their data, but there are very few people trained to do it. This shortage is why salaries for someone with just 2 to 3 years of experience often range between 8 to 15 lakhs per year. The third reason is stability. Companies are legally required by auditors to have these security controls in place. Because it's a legal requirement, these roles are often the last to be cut, even when budgets are tight. The final reason is timing. Most companies are currently moving to a newer version of the software called S/4HANA. It's a major technical shift that requires every security role to be redesigned, creating a lot of new work in the process. When you combine legal requirements with a global technology upgrade, you get a very stable entry point into the IT industry. To be clear about the requirements, you do not need to know how to code, and you do not need a computer science degree to start this journey. This isn't a programming role. What you actually need is a logical mind, good attention to detail, and a willingness to understand how different business processes work. In the upcoming episodes of this series, we will go deeper. We'll look at the specific tools used to manage roles, how to keep a company compliant with auditors, and how the newer S/4HANA systems handle security differently. To help me plan the next few videos, I'd love to hear about your background. Are you a student, currently working in IT, or looking to switch from a different field? Let me know in the comments. SAP Security is a logical, step-by-step discipline. If you can follow a process, you can begin mastering it. I'll see you in episode 2.